It's great to lay eyes on you again. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. How are you? Good to see you too. Again, it's been too long. When was the last time? Like 2 years? Well,
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago, maybe around this time. So,
probably, yeah.
yeah, those of you listening, Dan Harrison and I connected on one of my early episodes in 2023, and then followed up again a year later. And I was thinking, we might just catch up every year, but 2025 got all over the place for me, as you know. Some pieces got moved around and priorities got moved around. So here we are in
Mhm.
2026 catching back up.
And
I'm going
that's
to throw
cool.
out a few things here and might pepper in some more accolades or things about Dan that you might not have heard about. But Dan Harrison recently named to the Nashville Briefing's 25 songwriters that you need to know about. I'll probably just butcher that. 25 songwriters you need to
That's
know,
that's right. That's right.
presented by ASCAP. So pretty awesome distinction there, Dan. I know you got to be happy about that.
Very happy. It was very unexpected. And I credit that to all my friends at ASCAP. They've been great champions for me, and I'm really appreciative for them. And I'm appreciative for Zach and the briefing as well. And he's a good buddy and does a lot for the creative community here.
Well, I know you probably developing a reputation around town as, I mean, everybody probably wants to be known as the hardest working guy in town or whatever. But is that important to you for people to see you as not just someone who's you want to be a good hang, and that's very important. And I think you've talked about that in the past that
Mhm.
that'll take you a long way. Just being likable, someone
Being
that
someone that people want to be around.
they want to have in the room, but the work ethic also. I'm sure that doesn't go unnoticed. That you're,
No, I don't. I don't think. I think that's important. I think reputation means multiple things. Obviously, it's reputation, personality. Reputation is the hang piece. Like, oh, he's a good hang. He's a fun guy. Work ethic. Reputation is another. Reputation is another. Talent obviously is a little bit more subjective, or just kind of. I think you can get away if you're talented enough. You can't obviously like not be any good. Like you got to have some sense of like taste or insight or skill level. But that mixed with it's a mix of that along with the personality and work ethic. Because if you're the most talented singer and musician in the world, but no one likes to be around you, you're a pain in the butt, and like you're just always high maintenance or the worst, or you're not easy to work with, or you don't work hard at all. Like doesn't matter how good you are. No one's like, I guess there could be exceptions to that rule, like if you're just so unbelievably ridiculously good, but that's just not the case for most people. And again, like I know and have met some of the most successful people in this town, and artists and songwriters, and not only are they great at what they do, but they're great people. Again, we're in the music business, or I'm in the music business, at least entertainment. Like there's always interesting personalities, and it's not to say that there aren't. And I don't know everyone, so I can't say for sure. But you hear stories. Again, it goes back to the reputation. So I think what matters, as much as talent matters, because you want to be good and you want it to like you want people to enjoy what you do and not have to like force to sell it. Like it just sells itself. But at the end of the day, I think part of talent is actually being someone that people want to be around, and someone that you can work with, and someone that you can count on is like, hey, I know this guy's putting in the work. He doesn't just have the talent. And I learned this from track too. I might have mentioned when we first met. I
mm-hmm.
ran track in high school and college pretty seriously, and the one thing that they beat into us that I think applies to music for sure, but honestly a lot of areas of life: hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard. So I certainly, to circle back to your original question of like, do I want to be known as that guy? Obviously, like I want to be known as a good person first, and obviously great at the craft, and that like I'm truly great at what I do, and because I work so hard. Um, but I don't want it to be because I've run into this every now and then, and we all do. It's a crazy game that we play here, and trying to be in so many different rooms and so many different events at once. You don't want to be the guy that's like you don't want to work too hard, like,
Oh
and I
yeah.
definitely have been accused of that. It's like, oh, that guy like just doesn't slow down, or he's so many rooms, like he's hard to get a hold of, or this and that. And like I I've been guilty of it, and it's just because it's with the right intention of just trying to like be in a lot of different camps and networking and events and rooms. It's like every aspect of what you have to do for your music career is a full-time job in its own right. Writing the songs, recording the songs, performing songs, going on the road, each separately its own job. The back end side of like admin, making sure everything's registered, going to events, the social media filming, social media editing, social media posting.
Yeah.
Literally every piece of this business could be broken down into its own full-time job with the volume that's required. And so while you're trying to at the same time live a life and like see friends and take care of yourself. Like I've been doing a fitness program the last 3 or 4 months, or 4 or 5 months at this point. It's been the best thing I've ever done for myself since I moved to town, because I kind of let my fitness get away from me when I moved here and just kind of get absorbed into the scene and the drinking and the staying out late. And I still do some of that, but I realized that if I want to be in this for the long haul, I got to take care of myself. And I love being fit and working out and all those things. And that's been a huge physical and emotional reset for me. That's been incredibly helpful, and I see the difference that it's made. So my point is that it's really hard just because of the amount of things that are required and the expectations, and to try and find that balance of not working too hard but working, still putting in the work is something I still struggle with. So, again, to circle all the way back to your original thing, do I want to be known as the guy that works really hard? Yes and no. I want to be known as like, I would love people to say, man, Dan, that guy's a superstar. He's just super cool. He's really great. He's all the things. Great hang, hard worker, really talented. You want all those things to be encapsulated, you know. Not that I'm perfect by any stretch, but you
Man,
try your best.
I learned so much just by asking that question, and I'm so
Wow.
glad that you covered all the bases. I don't think people realize when they go on Instagram and they watch some of the content from the artists and other creators that they like, how just crazy busy that one person's life can be, and the behind the scenes stuff. And like you said, I've got to film this, I got to edit it,
Mm.
and it's got to be entertaining. It's got to have a little, maybe a
Gotta be
dash of
good.
humor, and it's got to be
Yeah.
good and look professional. And wow, or people that maybe only spend time with the songs. Like we ride around, we listen. Me and my boys and my daughter now, they know the Dan Harrison catalog. They've
That's
got their favorite songs.
that's wow.
Uh, yeah, I got to tell you. So Alameda is still like it's still up there with my boys,
Oh
and
wow.
actually, I think it's like they've been listening to Night in the Life.
Hmm.
So I think that's Warren's number one,
Mm.
and then he's got Alameda number two, and I think We Went South is still in that top three.
Oh, I love
But,
that. Well,
but we
I
listen
got
to all of them.
man, I really appreciate that. That's awesome. I've got a bunch of new music that I've been trying to work on for myself. Obviously, been doing a lot of writing for other people, and I love doing that, and that's kind of like my bread and butter. But still trying to find time in all this to put out my own music, because I enjoy doing that as well, and I want to make sure that I don't let that slip. I mean, there's seasons of life. You can't do everything at all things at all times, but yeah, I do need to be putting out some more music soon. So stay tuned for that for sure.
Well, all things considered, and speaking of your fitness program and stuff, you look good, Dan. I mean, you look great.
I
Um,
feel really good, and I think that's a testament to, you know, self care and
mhm.
making sure to take the time to do that, because you always feel like you don't have time, and I know I do feel that way, but when you make the time for it, it actually gives you time back in other ways that you don't realize until you do it, you know.
Well, that
So
we'll spend some time on the topic of time a little further in the episode here. I don't want to get too far along without talking about the new single that
sure.
you collaborated with, co-wrote with Bells,
Hmm.
Kelly Bells, and Tyler Bank,
Hmm.
"Son of Jolene." Um, just under 1 million streams on Spotify alone in the first 30 plus days. I think that was an April 17th release.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, debuted and peaked, if I'm saying this right, number 11 on the US Billboard Country Digital
Digital
Song Sales chart,
sales. Yeah, yeah.
number 6 iTunes. In the UK, number 33 on the official singles downloads chart. 100,000 streams in one day. How, I mean, this has got to still be super exciting for all you guys involved that this came from. I was watching some videos where Bells is talking about she suggested to somebody she was touring with that, hey, you ought to write a song like this. And he bounced it back to her.
Yeah, so I'll tell the whole story. So first of all, it's been an amazing journey. It's been a long journey for the song to finally be out in the world, and we're so glad about that. And there's still so much to come with it. I mean, it has already it's I've been told by Kelly and her team that it's going. I should probably say Bells rather, but the song's going really well. Radio tour is going really well. Stations are ecstatic about the song and about the other songs we have on her project that are going to be following up that I'm really excited about. And it goes officially for ads June 1st. I don't know when this podcast episode is going to go out, but it'll either have already gone for ads or be about to go for ads. It goes for ads at Country Radio on June 1st, and we're really excited for that. It's already been at Music Row Radio and CDX Radio, which is also an awesome thing, and it's been doing really well there. And so there's just a lot of still upswing. Like all that stuff that you listed out and banged out in terms of like chart stuff was like the first couple weeks off of like purely organic, like just the song being like no playlisting, no nothing, like even
No
her
real
team
promotion.
not no real promotion. It was just the strength of the song, the strength of her social media presence and her fan like all that. And so I'm just really excited for that. But the story, yeah, the story's crazy. I was telling it to a buddy earlier today. um, it was really funny. We wrote it actually here in my living room where I'm standing, and it was December. I'll never forget it. I keep a spreadsheet all songwriters and artists should of their songs, like when they wrote it, the title, who they wrote it with, and any other pertinent information they want to do. But so of course I like have the dates and the specifics of the song, but I rarely like remember them in the front of my mind, like hold it there, like living rent free in my head kind of thing. But there was something about this day, even before all this stuff happened, I just like very much knew it, and it felt good. It felt right, and that was kind of a sense that okay, maybe we did something special. But it was December 9th, 2024, in this very room, and I don't typically like to write um, in December's because talking about going back to the balance thing, I try and take some time off for myself or like do other things in music, like recording, catching up on my stuff, or spend time with family. Like I'm still working. It's just take a break from writing to refill the well too. And so I wasn't planning. We weren't really supposed to be writing. And Bells had just come from a tour, and it was all of our last session of the year. Like me, Tyler, and Bells. It was all of our like last write of the year before the holidays. And but we because we're all really good friends, we're just like, hey, let's just like get together and hang out, whatever. And she came in and was telling us about this tour that she'd just been on. Another artist buddy of ours, Trevor, was opening for her. He's a great artist himself, Trevor Martin, and he was opening for Kelly. And then the last show of the tour, Trevor's parents came out, and Kelly met them, and his mom is named Jolene. Like actually, that's her actual name, and she was born before the song came out. So um, Kelly met her the night before, and then they're in the van the next day, and I just thought it was really funny um, because apparently Kelly told Trevor like, hey, yeah, you ever thought about writing a song called "Son of Jolene," but like because you're the son of Jolene, and you can talk about how maybe you've had a messed up love life because your mom was Jolene. I mean, obviously not that Jolene, but just for the purposes of the song. And Trevor was like, that doesn't, according to what Bell said, like, that's cool, but it doesn't really feel like me, which is totally valid. And to say that, it's like, yourself as an artist, like the songwriter in me just like, and Kelly too, obviously just, ooh, that's a cool idea. Let's write it. Even if it's not for me, like it might be for someone. But certain, if he's really thinking about like for himself, if that doesn't fit his artist brand, it's like totally understandable. He's like, nah, I don't think that's for me, but you can maybe write it. And she was like, okay, I think I will. And to Trevor's credit too, again, if he actually did want to write it, it would have been a totally different song from the perspective of the son of Jolene singing it versus a girl that met the son of Jolene. Like I don't know that Dolly would have been involved in it. You can't say for sure, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just a different thing. And you know but Kelly told us the idea and told us about it, and I pretty much was like, well, we need to write that right now. And so we wrote it, and again, another sign that the song's either special or maybe crap, but we wrote the song in like an hour, maybe 70 minutes. I mean, songs can take anywhere from like 2 hours to 4 to 5 hours, like depending on if you're doing a track or like you just might get really stuck on a verse, being right. But the song truly just fell out, and I have the voice memo like on my phone from the day we wrote it, and that to the record that you finally hear, there's not much different. I mean, like of course they record it for real. I just mean lyrically, melodically, arrangement, structure wise, it's pretty much exactly what we did that day. Of course, save for of course the vocal stuff that Dolly did, which was amazing and elevated it to this incredible level. That we had joked about, and we were always like, oh, wouldn't it be amazing if Dolly did this or that, or like if she ever sang on it. And she actually ended up doing some of that stuff without our direct. She just like had to, it was meant to be. I don't know. We just had the same sense of things, and she even did some other things that we didn't expect. That were just like, wow, it just took it to another level. And but we wrote it, and that's also a testament to the song itself, because a lot of times, when you write a song, the day you write a song, the journey a song goes on from the day it's first written, whether or not it was finished that day, until it's finally out in the world. It can still go through other changes, like in the studio, because a session guy might be like, hey, what if we actually went here instead to like a chord or whatever, or the artist might decide to like do a melody thing kind of different. But this song really, they even kept like my little signature riff. They like tweaked maybe one or two notes, but it functionally is the same. So that was also pretty incredible to me, that it's almost like, and it's as we did it that day, which is rare, and especially with someone like Dolly, who's so particular. She said, and she said it on camera with bells, like, I just thought it was the most cleverest song I ever heard, and it was like perfect as it was, and that was the biggest honor for me more than anything, because Dolly's just such a legendary songwriter, and particularly with that song being so personal and particular for her, that she felt that we did it justice that way is just the greatest. It's
You
the
know,
greatest song ever. Yeah, it just doesn't get better than that. So, because I know she's working on other songs all the time with other artists and working on duets projects with big artists, and she has a lot of notes apparently for these other songs, and is like, no, this isn't right. We need to fix that. But with ours, that wasn't the case, and so that's, yeah. So that's the story about how the song was created. If if you want to ask another
she
question, I'd keep going, but in terms of like how it got to her and all that stuff. But that was like the creation behind the song.
Oh, I mean, the story is incredible. And especially I mean, 60, 70 minutes to crank all that out, especially just getting pen to paper or however I mean, born into Kentucky smoke. His mama was his one hero. I mean, those first four lines there, I can just see Dolly's eyes just like, I mean, I'm assuming she's reading that first, or maybe she's
I
hearing
don't know. I
them
don't
both.
know. Yeah, I don't know if they printed out the lyrics and gave it to her. I just know that she obviously heard it and wanted to sing on it and loved it.
I
No,
feel
I
like
mean
she
it's.
was like probably really impressed that you guys were taking not just a direct cover of the song, but like putting a entirely new spin on it. I think
So I
she must have
talked
been.
about this. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
talked about this earlier today with someone else too. Like, I was trying to figure out how to categorize this song, because it's obviously not a cover, and it's not. It's also not a sample. Like Tupac sampling Bruce
Yeah.
Hornsby, like sampled the specific audio, or like Kanye's done that. A lot of rappers do that. Will take like an actual old master recording of a song, chop it, flip it, speed it up, whatever they want to do with it. That's like true sampling and interpolation. You can also like, there's that Dustin Lynch song that he did with Jelly Roll a year or two ago called Chevrolet. It's like where they use the melody from Drift Away, the Dobie Gray song, or
Yeah.
that. So like, and that's another form of interpolation. That's interpolating a melody, but like you're not using an old audio sample. You're
Mm-hmm.
recreating it all yourself. You're just using the copyrighted melody or lyric. This is different. I mean, we use, of course, at the end of the song, the original chorus comes back with different lyrics, like Jolene, 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 Jolene.
Mm-hmm.
But the song up until that point, while it's very clearly, the best word that I can think of it is like a sequel. Like, it's very clearly
Yeah.
it's musically distinct, but it's like evolutionary. Like it fits in the vibe. It's its own like melody, its own chord progression. It's not copying any of that in an interpolative sort of way. It's truly its own original creation that the subject matter is continuing the story of a famous classic song, and then we obviously honor it at the end with that original chorus coming back. So yeah, the best way that I can describe it is just like a sequel, or like in the same way that you have a sequel in a movie, like because it's its own thing, but
Hmm.
it very clearly is its own thing only because of Jolene, obviously. So the song wouldn't exist without Jolene, of course, but it's its own thing as
Well,
well.
I remember when you sent me the link to it, and once I had a chance to hear it, I replied right away and I said, Dan, instant goosebumps. And that was legit.
Yeah,
And I
no,
just think about that times however many you know, millions that are getting the same experience, because I think people like that now. They like something a little bit reimagined, kind of a modern twist. It's one thing to have a modern twist, but still be a cover song. But yeah, however it's categorized, it's you guys really just blew one out of the water here. And
I really appreciate it. I feel I still like honestly a lot of days I still wake up and I'm like, did we actually do that? And it's still this is like a year and a half later. I'm like, it's still kind of hard to believe because look, I have big dreams. We all have big dreams, um, but I I just never thought Dolly. There's big dreams and then there's Dolly. Like
yeah,
it's and she's so particular as a songwriter and as an artist. It just really is. All, I, I'm gonna do a lot of. I know I'm gonna do a lot of other really cool big things in my career. Speaking that into the universe. Um, but I don't know if anything is gonna mean as much as this. At
I
least.
mean, Dan, there's only like a few living legends in that echelon. There's Dolly, there's Willie. This
Yeah.
at that peak right there, and to have her stamp of approval.
Yeah. It
And
means, it means everything.
I've got to point people also to Bells and your social media. There's a video where the three of you guys, you and Tyler and Bells, are watching, I guess, for the first time. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's the video. And Dan, the way you fall back in your chair when Dolly sings that part, the first part where she comes in, girl, who were you expecting him to be?
Yeah. No, it
And that,
truly. Yeah, we were listening to it for the first time. Me and Tyler were listening because Kelly had already heard it.
and that's where you weren't sure what she was going to insert
I
there.
had no idea what she was doing. Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
like we didn't know. They like Kelly had like pumped it up and been like, "Oh, she did so much more than we ever would have thought. Like it sounds amazing." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Okay, like let me hear it." And she was right. Like it
Yeah.
was it was amazing. It was truly, yeah, it was an experience that I'll never ever forget. No question. So
She also has that part in the middle of the song where she's just saying, I can't reach the level she's singing, but and it's under
yeah,
that kind of haunting steel guitar.
yeah, that kind of
Oh,
solo section.
wow.
He certainly would not. Yeah, Dolly did this. I mean, she's 80 years old, but like vocally, she's like just as strong as she's ever been. I mean, she can really, she can just do so much. It's crazy, and she brought obviously such an emotion and intensity to the song because it means so much to her. And something we later found out is she heard it and I think recorded it right around the time Carl Dean died, her husband. So it had extra meaning because that song, if you've heard her talk about the song in interviews, it's sort of about some women that Carl was working with that she kind of felt threatened by. It's kind of like a composite um,
Hmm.
character that she named Jolene, and so I think it had this extra sort of weight and meaning for her because of the timing. And what's funny too is because she's also talked about how like where she got the name Jolene from. She's like, I met a little girl at a concert and she said her name was Jolene, and she's like, oh, I bet your daddy's name was Joe and your mom's name was Colleen, and that's actually how Trevor's mom is named Jolene because of the parents putting their names together, not because of the Dollar song, because she was born before the song came out. But this little girl said, no, it's just Jolene. So in my head, I was wondering, wouldn't it be crazy if that was actually Trevor's mom and it's full circle, like it really is.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dolly said like I just love that name and I wanted to use it in a song, and then I had something to write about, and unfortunately it wasn't like She didn't make Jolene a likable character to that little, if that little girl ever found out. But you know, yeah, it's really just, I still pinch myself every day. I just can't believe it's a thing.
Well, I can't wait for the people who have not yet experienced it. Like you said, um, I guess here the next, what'd you say the timeline was before it goes
So it goes to
to,
depending on when this episode comes out. It goes to country radio officially on June 1st of this year. Um, Kelly Bells is also making her Opry debut on July 30th here in Nashville, and we're all playing the Bluebird Cafe here in Nashville 2 days before on the 28th, and that's gonna be really special too. So, and she's just on tour all like Bells is on tour all summer, um, kind of on top of that as well, festivals, club dates, you name it. So she's everywhere. She's if I put it this way, you think I'm the busiest guy in town? If you saw Bells, I'd be a slacker. Like that's and maybe that's the thing why I guess I keep at the level I'm at because like it's about who you surround yourself with, and I'm surrounded by a lot of like really talented, really hardworking people. So it's kind of just feels like I'm doing what everyone else is doing. I don't feel like I'm going over the top. Um, but yeah, she's obviously been crazy busy in has all she's one of the hardest working. I've said this for a long time about Bells. She's got all the pieces that you hope for in an artist. She's got the voice, she's got the look, she's got the talent, she's got the stage presence and the performance chops and experience. She's been on the road for a long time since she was a little kid. She's opened arena tours for like JoJo Siwa and stuff like that. She really has like experience,
yeah,
and she's got great songs. She's a great songwriter, like truly. Not all artists are great songwriters, and not that they don't always need to be, but she is truly a great songwriter. She's one of my favorite people to write with, obviously, and she also has a social media presence. She truly has everything that you would hope for in an artist to have, and she's just also underneath that all a great person. So
that part being a great person, just what I've seen through the prism of her social media.
mhm.
She seems like someone that's probably nice when she goes to get a coffee somewhere. She's nice to that person on the other side of the counter, or if
Yeah,
she's, out to dinner or something, she's nice to the server. Like she
she's
seems like she is pretty
mhm.
ground level for,
She's a genuine, like she's from Nebraska. She's like Midwestern, very nice, just like that kind of person. And the person that she is on social media is who she is in real life. For the most part, obviously there's always like a little bit of exaggeration, but she is that nice, bubbly, fun personality like that. That is her to her core. She's not being someone she's not, and I think that shines through because I don't think she would connect with people that way if she wasn't being authentic. So the way that she has, so yeah.
well, Dan, want to cover a little bit on Night in the Life because personally, having listened to all the singles in your catalog, and we talked, I think the last time a couple years ago, you're always looking to beat what you did before.
Hmm.
It's got to be a step up. It's got to be a step up, and
Yeah.
nothing against anything behind it, but this has
Yeah.
got to be top notch. I think
Hmm.
it's the best song. I think it's the best song from your artist project to
Oh, I
date.
appreciate that, man.
I know that's probably what you're aiming for, but it truly, I think it's just Dan Harrison at another level.
I really appreciate that. I love that song, and that song kind of came about in a different way because I wrote it for another project, like a film and TV thing that I was doing, and so lyrically it was like a little bit of a different approach because country music is so heavy on like imagery and wordplay and like all these things that for film and TV you don't necessarily need, you don't want because you want you're serving the picture and the audio and all, like the music is not the focus. So we were trying to write some stuff, and there's a whole other the song I put out right before that, Hourglass, the other duet I did with Sophie, is also from that project. So I was trying to strike that balance of like it still had to be something that felt reflective of me as an artist and something that I would put out, but also something that could live in a film and TV world or advertisements, or could be used in some sort of sense, like maybe a alcohol commercial or like a part like a some sort of like event, something like that. And yeah, so but it wasn't really necessarily something I was planning to put out when we wrote it, but we certainly were writing it with like it could be something I put out. But it just got to the point where I was thinking about new music, and I was like, you know what? I really think this song's awesome, and it's a little bit different from stuff that I've done in the past, but like in a good way. And you always, like you said, want to be growing and evolving. And I love playing it. It's super fun with a band. It's probably my favorite song to play on my catalog with a band, for sure. And definitely could see doing more songs in that kind of vein, um, going forward as I do more of my own stuff, because it's fun. I just love, the songwriter in me loves the lyrics and the wordplay, and like kind of like the deep emotional, meaningful, philosophical things. But you also need songs to just like make you feel good and get your feet moving, and that's what I think that song does. And I didn't really have a song like that, so that's why I really liked it.
I like what you said there about not trying to do too much, but still. Here's what I've noticed with your songs, especially with the guitars. The guitars are always just like flourishing when they need to, and then they hang back when they need to. But you create this music that you're going for a feeling with the listener, and I
Hmm.
think Night in the Life, go all the way back to Nowhere Bar, and then a few other ones like Talking Dirty is one of my favorites. And I'm not really a country guy. I grew up in going because whatever I try to say, I'm not going to say it correctly, but
Yeah.
four wheeling or a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I
Well,
love the
same,
music. I love the
same.
guitar, the soloing that's going on Talking Dirty. But with Night in the Life, to me it sounds like one of those songs. Whoever's listening to it for the first time is getting an emotion from it, where they think, "Man, how am I just now hearing this?" Or why don't all my friends know about this and like this? Like
I,
it just sounds like it belongs, and it's you want to play it again, play it again.
I
We've
really appreciate that. That's
you
too.
know
That's very kind of you. I mean, certainly that's the reaction. I'm glad you're having that
yeah
reaction, which means hopefully other people will too. It's, as you know, the algorithm is it's just really hard to cut through. And I was having this conversation this week, and also earlier today. I feel like everything we've talked about, I've talked about earlier today, because it's just relevant, and on people's minds. It's like I've got a lot of really talented artist friends who are a lot further along than me, from an artist perspective, but they're still struggling against certain, barriers, walls, just like they haven't quite broken through. And it doesn't really make sense because they're so talented. They have the look, they have the songs, they have the voice, they have all the things.
hmm
And we know it's not just about talent. Unfortunately, there's just luck and timing, and the social media game algorithm, and just it can be frustrating in that sense. I do believe that my music has probably not reached anywhere near the amount of people that it could, and
yeah
so I would hope that it could at some point. But I really appreciate all that. I mean, no, that song's just super fun. And um, I co-wrote it with the producer Aiden Thompson, who's badass. He engineered and I think co-produced some of the stuff. Definitely at least engineered. He might, I don't know if he co-produced, but he has a Grammy for the most recent Jelly Roll record. So
wow
he's the real deal. And we got some great session guys on that. What's interesting about Night in the Life too is that was one of the few songs that I'm actually not playing anything on, other than like I'm only singing on it. Like I, of
hmm
course, like I came up with the we came up with the like progression, and I think even that little riff, the in the writing session. But they all brought it to life. I think Aaron, I'm trying to remember the guitar player's name. It was Aaron Curry or Aaron.
Aaron yeah I wrote down Aaron Curry.
Yeah, I have the credits listed somewhere on my social media, but he's badass. And so I mean, I love I love bringing it to other guitar players too, because then they come up with these cool things that I might have not necessarily thought of like on that day, and then I get to go play it and learn it, and their style and their approach to things is incorporated into my sense of things now. So, and there's plenty of songs where I'll go back and overdub like a solo if I really feel strongly about something, like this part needs to be a certain way, or I want to do this part, like, but they really just like they did that day, and I'm just like, I don't, that solo is awesome. Like I want to learn how to play that solo. Like I don't need to retrack it myself just for this to say that I played it, you know. Um, but no, I appreciate all that. And the funny thing, I don't know if I ever said with Talking Dirty, um, the that wasn't necessarily a song that I thought that I was gonna put out. We kind of wrote that with the idea that we'd be pitching it to, a more country artist, shall we say, like Jason Aldean or Morgan Wallen or Luke Bryan, even something like that. But I would play it out a lot, and people were like, you should put it out, like it sounds great. And you know I'm very happy with how it turned out. I certainly would still not be opposed to a bigger artist coming in and saying, hey, let me take a stab at it too. But it's just a funny thing with songs, certain songs like you don't think are for you, or could be a great one for you. Same thing with Night in the Life, it happened. And then other songs that I really want to do, people are like, I don't know, I mean, you sound good, but I don't know if that's like, we write in the same way that we write them with a certain sense of meaning or sort of meaning that we're going for. And even if that meaning is clear, people still take their own meaning from art, even ones that we didn't intend or didn't even think of. That's the beauty of art. So yeah, anyways,
Night, Night in the
that's
Life has, I'd love to be listening to some of these songs as I'm trying to describe them, but what I remember, there's some percussion that mimics applause in the beginning of Night in the Life.
a little bit something like that. Yeah, it's I
Because
can't
those
remember.
first few chords, it just sounds like if this song is an enormous song, it looks like you could just take it out on stage in a
Oh
festival
yeah,
setting and the place just goes nuts. Like
definitely
that.
get people doing that.
Yes.
Yeah, for
Hmm.
sure. Oh yeah, it could be the drum loop kind of just being on loop, like and then the guitar going. Ba-da-da. Yeah, I mean
Hmm.
it feels made for radio, made for the live thing. So
And
it,
the video, I don't want to cut you off mid thought
no,
there,
no,
but
you're fine, Ryan.
video is hilarious, Dan. And that's another thing I like about you, because if maybe if that component wasn't there, your inclination towards humor and peppering that in where you need to,
Mhm.
I love it. The theme where you're waking up and it's like what, like a groundhog, not Groundhog
Yeah,
Day, but
yeah, it's kind of like a Groundhog Day
put you in
situation.
a different outfit.
Yeah, yeah. No, that was a lot of fun, and that was I'd had like an idea that was kind of like that, but the guy that I do a lot of my music videos with and content, Grayson Green, he's awesome. He does a lot of stuff with Carson, a lot of other artists, friends of ours. That we kind of like workshopped that script together, and it was just really fun. What I love, a great music video and just great content in general, to me elevates and adds another layer that you wouldn't have gotten from just listening to it. And I think that music video did that in a really cool way. And I just loved it. It's easily the most intensive and like different scenes, different outfits, like kind of music video I've ever done. Um, but I'm also like, it's also my favorite. I'm really glad how it turned out. My only downside or regret is like it was like a couple months before I started my fitness program, and I feel a lot better and I look a lot better now. So I'm like, damn, I
Oh,
wish I wish I could like be this person now and go back and shoot it and like look a lot more fit. But that's whatever. There'll be another music video. I don't look bad. I just seeing the difference. I'm just
oh, I
like,
know when you kind of have the new you and you're like, all right, this is what I want to put out there.
yeah,
And
right, right. So I
um,
am I am going to be doing some new photos soon though, because like it's time for a new headshot anyway. I think I've had the same headshot for like 2 years, so that kind of stuff. And then whenever I get ready for my new content, new songs, whatever, yeah. But no, I love that. That's easily my favorite video I've ever done, and it's I think definitely the best one that I've done. So I'm glad you like it. And um,
I also like Dan, and I'm trying to put eyeballs on this video because you got to see the background on Dan's phone when he wakes up when the alarm goes off. Is that the Eddie Van Halen guitar?
it is actually
I
it
I
is.
was like, I saw that from a distance. I had to kind of like pause it and look at it again.
I do. Yeah, no, I got it right here. I don't know if you
Oh,
can
that's
see it.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I found the blue version
It's usually
because
red and white.
it's usually red or white or black, but the red and the yellow was a little too aggressive, and black also, I don't know, just didn't feel right. So I just found like, hey, I know Eddie never used blue, but like someone just on the internet made a blue variation of it. I was like, that's cool. So,
Hmm.
yeah, no, I'm a big Eddie guy. Um, he's one of my like heroes, certainly from a guitar playing perspective, and um, I love Van Halen. I love a lot of the classic rock stuff. I mean, that's just a lot of the country music of this era. The people that grew up listening and that are the creators now, like my generation, it's like we grew up listening to classic rock, 80s rock, just as much as anything else. So that's going to feed into there's an energy, stadium kind of like energy. And Garth Brooks was the one that really kind of started that trend, and Shania too. Um, So yeah, no, I love Eddie, and very sad um, when he passed. And I saw his son Wolfgang, his band Mammoth WVH. I think it's just called Mammoth now.
Hmm.
Uh, they came to Nashville a couple years ago with Alter Bridge, and that was badass. Both of them are two great bands. Alter Bridge has been one of my favorite bands for a long time, and Mammoth sounded great, and it sounded like its own thing. Like that, I know that he probably, and he's talked about this in interviews, like Wolfgang, like wanting to be his own man, apart from
Hmm.
not just always be compared. And he's like he's got the talent and the skills and the chops and all those things, but like developing his own sound, that's hard to do, but he's done it. So um, yeah, no, big Eddie fan though.
Yeah, and I like how your uh, rock leanings kind of seem to inform your songwriting. And
Yeah.
maybe when you're in the studio, do you kind of have some fun with, all right, let me try this solo, or is it, how often is it you playing a solo and sometimes it's another musician
Well, it
laying
depends.
it
Like,
down?
if we're in like a studio setup and we got like a band set up, there's usually guitar players sitting down and tracking. It depending on the song, if what I've written out beforehand, or if I like did a demo beforehand in my studio here and like maybe tracked a solo that I really like. Like the We Went South solo is a really good example because I demoed all those songs for that project. I demoed myself in my little studio here, and so tracked all the parts, and I had a lot of like signature riffs and solos that I really liked. So we kept a lot of those. I mean, I retracked them with the new recordings that we'd started with the band, but I just need them to do the kind of meat and potatoes, the rhythm and like cool little other parts. But like I knew for certain songs like We Went South, that solo is the exact solo that I played on the demo. I mean, I replayed it, but it's the same notes, the same written out solo.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of depends. But then Night in the Life, for example, we just had a work tape and we went in there and Aaron just ripped that solo and I was like, that's freaking awesome. Like if he didn't have a great solo or if he just like didn't do one, I would have gone in and done something later. But that was great, so there was no need to. So it kind of just depends on the song. I obviously love um, being I love being able to like be someone that is creating stuff on the fly with that thing. But when you're in a studio session, particularly with a bunch of guys and it's money and you kind of just
Mm.
like let them do their thing and direct and point as you can. But like I'm not the guy in the chair, and I don't want to be. That's why I'm in those rooms because I want to.
Yeah.
Because that's why I set up those sessions because you want to hear what they can do and what they can bring, and then I take those files and then work with them on my own at my own pace. And I'm able to say, okay, here's what I like. I really like what they did there. I don't love that, or like I'm going to double that thing that they did, or like I'm going to do yeah. So it kind of just depends on the song and the situation. But there's a lot of ways to cut the cake, or whatever the expression is. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the beauty of being able to do it myself. But that doesn't mean I have to do it myself every time. It's having the ear of knowing like what's right for the song, I think.
Mm-hmm. Now, I think I heard you saying on another podcast episode, I wrote it down here, that you want to get a little bit more autobiographical to an extent on the next batch of songs, or get a little bit more personal. Maybe saying
Yeah.
that wrong.
No, no, you're right. I don't remember where I said that recently, but that's true. I definitely did say
Oh,
that.
this may be a little older. Backstage Pass with
Okay, yeah,
Gordy Tamayo.
yeah. No, that's not that's. I think that might have been from last year, but um, that's true. I mean, in some of the songs that like I said, that I've been working on slowly for my project that I have coming up, are a little bit more personal, autobiographical, and I just think now that I'm a bit more comfortable with myself as a writer and having a sense of who I am as a writer and an artist and what I wouldn't say just as much as what I would say, I just have to think about, well, like what makes me different, what makes me unique, what's going to make me stand out. And I think that's my story, because everyone's story is unique and different. So I just finding the ways to honor and tell my story and my life and my perspective up until this point in a way that I think will connect with people and people will connect to their own lives. But of course, I want to be able to just find my lane and find my own way of saying it, and the experiences and background that shaped me and made me who I am. So yeah, I definitely want to be more personal. It's not that I ever wasn't personal or didn't relate to stuff before.
Hmm.
But again, different songs exist for different reasons, Um,
Or some of the ones like whether it's Traded for a Truck or certainly like Hangover Here,
yeah. I mean,
Talking Dirty. Even if somebody like me, I didn't maybe have that direct experience,
right.
you can the way the lyrics are written, the way the song moves you and carries you, the melody and hooks, it can you get it, and you could see it. You can take
Yes.
pieces from it and maybe make it fit for your life or what you're doing.
But the emotion is it's we're communicating emotion. The songs are a vessel for connecting this emotion from you to me. And those songs are a perfect example because like I said about Talking Dirty, that wasn't necessarily one of my experiences either. I mean, I've had similar-ish experiences of like, being out somewhere a little bit more remote with a girl and kind of thing,
Hmm.
but it was about capturing that emotion, that story. The way we wrote that song, we were told is to get at that emotion and that feeling. Now it's funny that you mentioned other songs, "Hangover Here" and what's the other one you mentioned? "Traded for a Truck"
Mhm.
and even "We Went South." Those actually are those are more probably some of the more autobiographical songs on the on that last record in the sense of like, Hangover Here was based on my college experiences, like a pastiche of college experiences, and
Oh yeah,
uh,
and we went south. I should have.
We Went South is kind of about my journey to here, and Traded for a Truck, not based on like a specific direct experiences, but it was me thinking of myself as like I've never owned a truck in my life, like it was trying to take that trope and that metaphor of trucks in country music, and how could I, as a kid from suburban Philadelphia, like play with the idea of a truck song. What kind of truck song would work for me? Well, it would have to be about the idea that I've never had one, and so I wonder, what it'd be like. So I always try and to your point about trying to make it more autobiographical, even if it's something like that, I certainly try and make it fit me. If we're talking about my artist stuff, it's different if I'm
Hmm.
writing for another artist with another artist and they grew up with trucks. Like I'll write those truck songs all day. I have a lot of those kind of truck songs and they're fun. But the standard is different when you're talking about like going back to Trevor with why he wouldn't sing some Jolene. It just wasn't relevant to him as an artist with what he's trying to do. If he was approaching it from the songwriter perspective, that's different. But my level of like how I look at things for my artist project has to be different from me as a songwriter. They're kind of they're not diametrically opposed, but they are complementary, I'd say, in the sense that I'm not just trying to find a great song. I'm trying to find a great song that reflects me and fits me and feels authentic and is how I want to present myself to the world, you know, versus it's those same considerations for the other artists I may be writing with, but in my head I'm just like, well, this is a great title, this is a great melody, great hook. Like I think it'll fit what they do and they'll dig it. And I'm excited to write this song and idea because I know I couldn't be the one to put it out, but this is super. To have this song have a home and create it and give it a life that I know it otherwise wouldn't have is why I love songwriting. Period. And, because you can't. Garth Brooks said this. I read him in an article, interview, or something at some point. You can't outright this town, and you can't write every song you cut, and you can't cut every song you write. It's just it's just the nature of time. You could have all the money in the world too. So
Hmm.
to point on the time thing as we talked about.
And yeah, speaking of time, um, or time management, is it hard for you to have those days where you get out in the community there locally and you're not doing anything business related, artist related, and I know there's like here I could maybe mention going to the beach or something, but like there's some places recreationally that you might go and hang with somebody or just go by yourself and you're like, all right, I'm not going to look at the phone. I'm not going to take any calls right now. I'm not, if it starts buzzing, I'm not paying attention to it. Can you do that?
It's hard.
I bet.
And you ask anyone, any family or friends that know me, they might say it not as nicely as I said that, but it is hard for me to disconnect, and it's something I'm working on. Just because again, I got so many different irons in the fire, for better or worse, and trying
Yeah.
to keep track of, you know, work that I'm doing for other people that pays the bills or gigs I got coming up. Like it's always like booking new gigs and like a lot of times when you get requests or people are reaching out, it's like it's kind of time sensitive and I gotta
Hmm.
make sure I'm on it or I miss it. And But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm trying to get to this point where, you know what? If I miss it, it's not for me. Um,
Yeah.
and you can't, because again, you can't be everywhere at once. You can't write every song, can't do all those things. So I've gotten better at it, and it's certainly easier when I'm with people, because then you kind of have a need and a reason to be, not to be present. But I mean, there's plenty of fun things to do in Nashville. There's a lot of great, kind of like, I wouldn't just call them bars, but just like activity bar, like barcades or like mini golf stuff. Places, I guess,
Hmm.
that serve alcohol. But there's a lot of great things to do in town. I've started getting into golf, back, kind of, I should say, back in with a heavy asterisk, because I golfed when I was a little kid, before I got really into running track, and music took all the time. But I love being on the course. I love just being outside, and it's fun hanging with friends, and I just love the atmosphere. And I want to get good enough that I can just like hang. I don't need to be Tiger Woods or Scotty Scheffler or anything like that. I just need to be able to not have to, pick up my ball at every freaking time. Just like play the game.
Yeah.
Um, but I really love doing that, and it's I'm trying to make time for that, because that is obviously very much a thing where you have to make time for it. And Yeah, I mean, we don't have the beach here, unfortunately. Um,
Oh, and I was
so
going to say, if I think I must have missed you a couple years ago at South Alabama. I think you played a gig there on
yeah,
campus.
well, I've been down there a good bit. Yeah, yeah, the University of South Alabama. Is that the
Hmm.
one you're talking about? Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
did that. I think that was last year, last March. It was on campus there at their student center. Yeah, I didn't realize you were.
I
For
should
some
have.
reason, I keep thinking, because you always wear the Cubs hat because you're from Chicago
Yeah.
originally. So I just totally didn't even realize that. I was down there. When was I down? I was down there again ish recently. I'm trying to remember. Uh,
We've got the 30A Songwriters Festival, Fort Walton, and
yep.
then UWF. It's a university in Pensacola.
Yeah, I know the ASCAP runs the 38 festival, so I've been trying to get on that festival at some point. I'm definitely going to talk to them, and obviously, if that happens, I will let you know. Certainly, if Son of Jolene becomes a big hit, like we know it can, I will be a lot easier for me to play that festival. Um, so let's hope it happens. But yeah, next time I'm down in that area, there's a lot of, as you know, country art like stuff going down around there, shows, concerts, people coming in from during tour. So I'm sure I will be back down in the South Alabama area at some point in the next little while. So I'll definitely let you know.
If you see me at one of the shows, you'll probably see a couple kids with me too, because
Yeah.
I got a little Dan Harrison fans.
Well, I love that, and as you know, my music is definitely, I don't know, it's not kids music, but it's family friendly. It's not me, you know,
Well,
trying to, yeah.
well, I can like hang over here. They don't. I mean, my 8-year-old knows what a beer is, but he doesn't know wake and bake or what that means. And I'm one of those
Yeah.
parents that, if it goes over their head, I'm not going to screen everything and say, "Oh, you can't hear that, can't watch
Yeah,
that."
he'll learn it. He'll get it when he's older. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I feel like there's movies or songs that like my parents let me watch or listen to as a kid, and as an adult or later on, I'm like, wait a minute, I never even realized that thing was that until just now. Now that I'm an adult, so like, yeah, I don't think anytime as a parent, saying this as not a parent, but obviously as someone who has parents, I think the restrictive mindset just makes kids want to like see what it's about more. If you don't like make things scary or off limits, they'll just either get it or they won't. And
That's right.
you know, so obviously within reason. I mean, I'm not saying show them like crazy R-rated stuff, but when it's appropriate. Um, yeah, no, I definitely will let you know, and hopefully it will be soon. There's also the Frank Brown festival, isn't that down there
Frank
somewhere?
Brown, yeah, the floor. It's different venues, but the Floribama is where it started, maybe
Right.
30 something years ago. But yeah, it's spread out across various venues in the area.
Yeah, yeah. And then for Walton, you said one of my good buddies is from Destin, from college, and one of my good college buddies, and he's actually a big, big part of who like got me into country music too. Apart from my college girlfriend at the time, but he really introduced me to a lot of the music that I now love. That's like was part of that time in my life. So um, I remember we went down to Destin during spring break, and that was super fun. Drove through Alabama in the night and saw Luke Bryan and Florida Georgia Line, and this is like 2013. So like that era, peak bro country on the
Yeah.
beach, on the beach at Spinnakers, and like you couldn't even see the sand. It was covered in solo cups. Yeah, it was crazy.
Well, Dan, we're hitting up on the hour mark here. I don't want to keep you all night, but this has been terrific. And anything we haven't covered or promoted that you'd like to highlight here at the end?
Well, I don't have a ton for me right now, obviously, in terms of my own music. I put out Night in the Life towards the end of last year, so obviously people go check that out and any of my other music. Um, we got some shows coming up in Nashville, like I said. Uh, Bells, we're playing Bluebird on July 28th. I think we're playing the Listening Room in earlier in that month, but I'm still locking that in. And then there's also a show potentially at Eric Church's bar downtown, Chiefs. They have like an original music venue that I think we might be doing there. Um, and then Bells is playing the Opry July 30th. So, that's a regular Opry show that anyone can get their tickets to. And that's going to be exciting. And obviously, yeah, if there's anything more I can think of, I'll make sure to let you know. But did we cover the time management thing enough, you think?
Oh, actually, this is a little anecdote, and it
Yeah.
may be kind of unrelated, but I got to mention it because I only did this for a short time in my life, a true 9 to 5 where you're in an office or you're doing something, you're like, this cannot be it.
Yeah.
But apparently, a couple of years before you moved to Nashville, it had someone gave offered you a job or something that was somebody in the network, and you're like, all right, I guess I gotta take this
Yeah,
at this
yeah,
time.
yeah. So before I moved to Nashville, I worked at a family friend's investment firm, and I'd interned there in college, and it was a great experience. It really was. I needed. It was just out of job. I was just out of college. It's like I needed a job, and I knew them, and I knew I wanted to do music, but I like didn't have a plan. So I was like, well, may as well make some money and figure it out. And I still, I learned a lot of valuable skills along the way. Like I was, financial analyst for a year and a half, 2 years, and I got some great skills, and some great people that are still I still know and am connected with, and are supportive and have seen the journey. And but and I'm glad that I did that too, because I sort of did the plan B first. Like I kind of like I tell this to people all the time. Is like, do you have a plan B? And like, no, because I already did it and I saw that that was not for me. Like, of course, like that's not to say it wasn't a great experience. It's just you realize like, hey, I know what I'm supposed to do with my life. And I think when you have that mentality of like, it's tough because speaking more broadly about time, not just time management, you think like, okay, I've been here in Nashville for over 8 years at this point, and been a lot of great things, a lot of growth, momentum, build everything, but I'm still very much trying to get to a certain level, and there's only so much that's in my control, and beyond that, it's kind of like I have to remind myself that I can't wait for my life to start, even if I'm
Yeah.
waiting for my career to hit a certain level. So like going back to that balance thing of like making sure I'm taking care of myself, making sure I'm making time for friendships, maybe a relationship at some point. Um, it's hard to do, but keeping that in mind in the bigger picture. Um, but yeah, I mean, I have done the more traditional route thing too, and I got a lot of respect for it. And there's definitely some days where, I'm like, hey, maybe having a steady paycheck would be cool,
Mm.
but I think this is what I do. This isn't like, oh, I'm going to try it out for 5 years, and if it doesn't work, it's like, no, this is what I do. And it's kind of like my grandpa was my dad's dad was a freelance writer, mostly like film, TV, screenwriter. He actually was an ASCAP member himself. He wrote some jingles for some of his shows, and he was a freelance writer his entire career. And you know, that's not quite what I am, but in the sense of like being a writer and trying to make your own way and make a mark that way, like that's who he was. Like he could have never done anything else, and that's me. That's gonna be me, and that's gonna be me. So I think you either it's not like it's kind of the work to live to work thing, but you know I don't want it to just be, like I said, live to work can also have its downside. So, you love what you do, but still being able to set certain boundaries where needed. Of like, at the end of the day, if I'm treating this like a job, even if you love it, you have to give boundaries to it like a
Mm-hmm.
job. Because I normally like try not to write and work on. I mean, I do paid work on weekends as I need to, like in my studio and whatever. But like, I try to not do writing sessions on the weekends. Try not do like in person recording, collaborating things on the weekends, unless it's like a really great opportunity that I can't turn down, or with like big artists, like of course. But you want to leave that time open. But I just mostly need the reset time and the relax and doing my laundry and getting some workouts in or sleep or whatever. Like, um, and this time of year is particularly challenging because a lot of the weekends I'm gone, either on the road for shows, or like I was out of town, as I said before we started, for my brother's graduation this past weekend, and that was great. And then I'm going out of town for a private show this coming week, so it's like all great things, but trying to find time and all that, and then you have busy weeks. It's like you need to find time to for yourself, and so I'm probably gonna go catch a movie later, just finish getting settled in back from being out of town, and just do something for me. It's Memorial Day weekend, try and enjoy that. You guys going to the beach or anything tomorrow, or doing anything fun?
We did a couple actually pool parties yesterday and earlier today,
Okay,
uh,
that's great.
with like little league related stuff. It's crazy. I was talking to another dad, and he was like, "Man, I don't really have hobbies anymore. My hobbies are whatever the kids are doing." And so,
Right.
if you do in another 5 or so years, have you know, have start a family and have the kids, it does really crunch the time that you have to do what you really want to do. And
No,
that's kind of what I was saying with the podcast.
right.
I don't disappear for 2 months, but it's mostly about a month, and sometimes I'll plug in a bonus episode in the middle. But yeah, usually about once a month because
I hear you, man. And that was why, especially, I kind of had a thought when I was a little bit younger, just like about what really pushed me to do the music thing too. It's like I knew eventually, like I would love to have a family and kids and all that stuff, and um, I want to show them, like, I don't want to just be like miserable at my job or what I do and all that stuff. Like, because I saw that from my dad in the sense he loves what he does and is hard working. Like, I wanted to be as passionate about something as my dad was at working, and hopefully be as successful and really good at it, and set that same kind of example. I don't just want to just like work a job because it's easy and it was what was handed to me, and but I hate it. Like, that's not a way to live life and enjoy
yeah.
life. And it's hard enough. And so if at least I'm doing what I love, and then I don't have as much time for other things because I have my kids, at least like I love my job, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
that's I think it's extra important. Yeah, and hopefully in hopefully not next year, but maybe in the next few years we can talk more like father to father about stuff like that. But I gotta have a
Oh, that
girlfriend first, so
yeah.
and then they become yeah. There's a process that I'm not
Oh,
rushing. I want, but I'm not rushing.
oh, it is wild, Dan. Like 2016, I still remember sitting there. I had broken up recently with the girlfriend before my wife,
Hmm.
and I was sitting there on my balcony, and I'm thinking, what is happening next? Kind of like in my life, I was not so far down, but I was thinking, I want to be a dad. And then I'm kind of running through the things that creatively I want to work on. And I'm just thinking, what is going to happen from here? How does all this happen? And then within 2 years, I had a baby, or 16 months, something
That's
like that.
crazy.
And
Wow.
I feel like for me personally, I've definitely, you kind of have to make healthier choices as a parent. I guess you can, um, not slow anything down, but it's really hard to be an active dad if you're uh, drinking at the same levels,
Oh
or
yeah.
prioritizing the time with the guys and stuff like that. So,
Right. And I mean, I can't even do that. I don't even do that as my, like, I still obviously hang out with my friends, but frankly, the fitness program and just wanting to, the whole mindset of like wanting to have a long career and doing what I love, like music is a physical thing, certainly the performing and the singing piece. So you kind of have to approach it like an athlete. And I definitely don't drink as much as I used to. Um, and that's a good thing. I
that is
still
good.
I enjoy whiskey. I enjoy, a nice cold beer. Like, it's making it a thing that like is something to be enjoyed and for, special occasion. or just even if a Friday, it doesn't have to be like that rare, but yeah, definitely overall making healthier choices because that's just what I want to do, and thinking long term as well. I want to be able to make choices for longer, so therefore they got to be healthier. So yeah,
Yeah.
I
Oh, I
totally
can't wait if the time comes and like you said, if you're a father in a few years and we can connect on that level too.
yeah, that'd be
I
great.
think you got all the great traits that are just in the DNA, Dan, to be be a solid role model for somebody like that, or a great
Uh,
husband and father, and but yeah, the here and now. I just think you're doing a wonderful job at the body of work. That's something that, let's say you have a family and then they look back and once they get to be a certain age and they hear some of the songs that you've written.
yeah, no, it's
Um,
that too. It's to have that, for my family and people I care about. That's why music is so important to me too, because that's going to be a lasting legacy, whatever happens. You know.
oh,
So,
and I also want to point on this. I've got two brothers, and you do too, and we've talked about that before.
mhm.
And I s you had a post about your mom on Mother's Day, and it was really touching to me personally because
Thank you.
I know how close my brothers and I are with our mother
Hmm.
and how happy she is. You could just tell, like, when you're around your mom as an adult and the things you're doing, things your brothers are doing, and you just look over and she's happy that, like, wow, I did something right raising these guys. They hopefully you all like each other, you and your brothers, and like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that just I know she's so proud of you. Like, I don't even know your mom that well, but we messaged like a couple times back channel maybe after that first episode I posted, and she
Yeah.
said, "Hey,
Well,
thanks
she
for interviewing my
probably.
son."
Oh God, of course she did.
And I was like, "No, he's an awesome guy." So, but she's really proud of you.
She is. I mean, I was with her this weekend and with my whole extended. It was my dad, my mom, and my stepmom, and my mom's boyfriend, and my stepsisters, and then my two brothers, because obviously the youngest one was graduating, and it was really special. And I really I really value the time with my family because I don't get it that often because I'm here and we're all spread out. So, look, no one can tick you off like family, and we definitely still can get on each other's nerves, and you know, but I love them so much, and I'm very grateful. My mom, I wouldn't be here without my parents. There's no question about it. The support and the belief and everything. There's no question about it. They might not always understand what I do or get it because it's a weird, unique kind of thing, and they are not in the business themselves, but they're very supportive, and so I'm really grateful for that, and that's important. And I have great role models in that sense too.
I,
So
I don't know if I asked before, but when you wrote Alameda, did your mom know that you were planning to do that? Did
I think
she?
I told her about it after I wrote it because that's
She
about
had.
her mom, yeah, my grandma.
Yeah.
So yeah, and she'd heard, yeah, and she loved it. So, but I wrote a song about my mom, which was in that post that you were talking about. That I is one of the, again, autobiographical, more leaning songs that I hope that I can put out soon. Cut a record off and then put out. But I just really love that one. That came out super special because I'd written a lot of songs about moms and for moms and other people's moms, but writing one about my specific thing that still felt universal and relatable, but something that was like, this is my story. Like, took a while to do, and but it did it, and I'm really glad that happened. So that might be for another podcast episode, a whole another thing. Hopefully, by the time we're talking, I'll have all my music out, a bunch of hits to talk about, and maybe a baby on the way or something. Not too soon
Well,
though. I know why. Maybe don't include that. Maybe include that. I'm kidding. I don't
well,
care.
well, whatever happens, Dan. I mean, I think only great things are to come
I appreciate
because uh, it can't just be me and it can't just be the people that are connecting with some of the other songs. Um, it's just like you said. I think you talked about earlier in the episode. There's people, your peers, who get frustrated. They're thinking, what more do I have to do? I
it.
mean,
Yeah, I mean, there's
I'm not a
yeah,
bad looking guy. I'm a pretty good performer. I mean, yeah, and they're not even full of themselves, and they're thinking, I got stage presence.
yeah.
I got
It's
good material. What's going on here?
the
Like,
reality is it's just it's timing and just the right moment. And I mean, the reality, there's so many people and songs and just content that is out there, and trying to cut through is really
yeah,
difficult. I mean, if you don't have a ton of money, and even still, it's not a guarantee of any kind of lasting stuff. I mean, there's some stuff going on right now. There's some people, some artists that are kind of like making some waves and kind of coming out of nowhere. It's like, well, they came
Mm,
from a certain situation, and that's fine. I mean, look, we all use what's to our advantage. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that because even if that opens the door, you know, you're not going to stay if it's not legit or people don't connect with it or it's not authentic. You know, however you got your
right.
foot in the door, even though there is something to be said about having that advantage to open the door a lot sooner than other people might be, or at all, because some people might never even have the chance. But I mean, look at Thomas Rhett, for example. His dad, Rhett Akins, is like one of the greatest songwriters in this town and had a lot of success. And he definitely grew up around it and had kind of a leg up. And maybe that opened some doors for him. He's talked about this on the podcast. Might open some doors for him that would have taken a lot longer. But he still had to be good and like he wouldn't still be a thing if he wasn't good and wasn't a good guy and didn't work hard and all those things. Like he was given the opportunity. I think the expression is like they might get the door open for you. It's your job to keep it open. And so,
Hmm.
you know, I think that's a testament to him. But it is hard. It's hard, however you slice it, whether or not you have an advantage or whether or not you don't. And it's just, but I think it comes down to that mindset again. Like this is what I do. It's not like if it doesn't work out, I'm gonna go sell insurance. It's like this is what you do, and you
Hmm.
figure it out. So, anyways,
And Dan, talking about time management, or not um, specifically looking at opportunities, maybe passing on something, maybe something sounds okay. Well, this is decent. I think I could do this on this night. Do you
yeah.
turn do you turn some things down if it's a performing gig? Will you probably uh, accept that if someone wants you to play guitar, play bass, like with them, with their group? Will you do that mostly when it comes along, or just
Usually, I
depends?
mean, obviously, assuming it's a paid thing, obviously, and most of the time it is. If I can make it work, if it depends on like, do I already know the songs or can I learn them easily? Does it fit with my pre-existing schedule? Obviously, um, yeah. I mean, I try to. My default is to not is not no. My default is like, let me see if I can make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it should be no, but yeah. I mean, I definitely have to like find that balance. The balance is getting to a point in my career where I don't need to feel like I need to say yes to
Hmm.
everything. Where I can say no, I'm good. Like this is what I'm doing. I need this time that during this week, and it's even the same with writing. It's like I'm gonna continue to be writing consistently, like 4 or 5 days a week, maybe, but maybe 4 days more of the time now. Like give me an extra day to like do my other life stuff I need to do, or like and not be writing twice a day on those 4 days that I am writing. Um, Consistency is the most important thing. So even if you're only writing 2 days a week, but you're consistently doing it, that's better than not. But you know, I also don't want to, like I said, burn myself out, do too much. And I've it's a balance that every creative struggles with. Like you have seasons where like you're kind of light, seasons where you kind of maybe overdo it a little bit, and you need to check yourself. And I'm kind of in that space right now. I kind of need to take a little bit of time and reevaluate. Hey, what's on my calendar that I absolutely need to be doing, or because I might have said this earlier in the podcast. If I didn't, I probably said it earlier today in a conversation I was having. Saying no isn't just no to something; it's yes to something else, even if you don't know what that thing is at the
Yeah.
time. So that's the thing I try and keep in mind. It's also not saying never. Saying no is just saying not right now.
Hmm.
So it's still hard for me to do, but I have to remind myself because then when I get into those moments where I'm like, oh my god, I have so much. Like, why did I say yes to all these things? I don't have the time, and then I'm just stressed out, and then I'm not enjoying it, and then why do it in the first place? So, we all hustle, and we all got to do what we got to do, and sometimes days are a little crazier than others. But um, I'm trying to balance filling out my days without like overdoing it and maxing it out kind of situation.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's still a continual journey, as I'm sure it is for you. But um, it's it's because I love what I do, which is ultimately the good thing, and it's because I love what I spend my time doing to tie it all together. Just trying to make sure that I give myself enough time to be able to do that stuff effectively. So
I think you were born to make music. I hope that doesn't sound too
uh,
uh, on the nose or whatever. But I definitely think that it's just like you said. There's not a plan B. This is what you need to do. You've got it. It's
Hmm.
just coursing through you. So some people, I guess, have that artist bug and maybe look at it as a curse. I could see it both ways. Like, do you feel appreciation that you got the gift, and then
I do.
sometimes it's like,
I really do. I mean, sometimes I, there are times where I'm like half asleep, and I get a song idea, and I'm like, okay, my brain's not. I know my brain's not going to let me sleep if I don't get this down. So times like that, I'm just like, why can't I just not? Or like, why can't I just be happy doing a regular 9 to 5 and like not having to like take this gamble? But I it's part of what makes me me, and I love what I do, and I think it's kind of like a superpower. I think having musical ability and that kind of thing is kind of like a superpower because you can kind of connect to people in a way that other that you can only do through music,
yeah,
and so I think it's really special. I really do, and I'm it's obviously such a part of who I am, but making sure it also doesn't totally consume. Like I am more than my songs. I am more than my music. And that's really important to keep in mind because this industry is so up and down and will not love you back most of the time. So you can't, I've had to learn the hard way, and a lot of friends of mine and peers, it's like learning to keep that separation of like, my identity is not totally, even though we love what we do, make sure it's not totally tied in with, you know, that because then we're gonna be very up and down and it's like I'm
yeah.
still cool no matter what. I love what I do. Music's a huge part of who I am. But it's also my job. I'm more than my job. So you want to have other interests and hobbies because that's also going to make the music more interesting and just fit that whole thing. So,
Like if
anyways,
you, it's probably hard to go to what 3 periods of a Predators game or
hmm,
all 4 quarters of a Titans game. I know the Titans weren't very good last year, but
I'm an Eagles
uh,
fan anyway. So
yeah, that's um. One thing I did want to, and I could just keep rattling these things off, but the song "Always,"
hmm.
I think, is one of your best vocal performances.
Oh, thank you.
And I don't know if it when you're going into recording a song like that, if you're thinking this has to be the best, or like this is really leaning on um
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, every time I'm going in to cut a record vocal, I'm trying to like this has to be the best that it can possibly be for the song. Um, but I
like the
do.
way you sing the hand to hold and stretch out that note. I think you've got a real gift there, and
Well,
that's
I think that song in particular, it was very heartfelt and emotional and coming from a real place. And that was I wrote that song for um, someone I was with at the time and really felt it and meant it. And every time I hear it, I still kind of get emotional because songs are little time machines. They're capsules of what you wrote, when you wrote it, who you wrote it for, and it will always be that. Even if you take new meaning and new perspective on it from when you're listening to it, years later, it still puts me back in that. It's like the line from the Eric Church song, "Funny how a melody sounds like a memory,"
mm,
brings me back to that. So, yeah, that one was particularly emotional, and I think that's reflected in the vocal performance. But I appreciate that. I do. Um, yeah. So,
well,
anything else we feel like we need to cover? I probably need to get rolling here. So,
yeah. Sorry, I probably took us about 30 minutes too long,
no, you're fine.
too
Hey,
far.
I was more look. We're long overdue,
And we
and I'm
got to
happy.
catch up on 2025 not having an episode. So this covers
Right.
that year.
No, definitely does. So that's totally fine, and we'll obviously keep in touch along the way. Um, and obviously let me know if you guys end up making it to town, or if when I get down to South Alabama, I'll let you know. And yeah, just and then whenever, obviously no rush on this podcast, but whenever that's ready, let me know, and I'm happy to share it and go from there.
Absolutely. Well, folks listening, usually I will talk to you, the listener, more than I did in this episode, but hopefully you enjoyed eavesdropping on the conversation here at
Yeah.
Dan Harrison Music across the socials. And I think it's on X that is DN Harrison.
Yes, yeah. That's the only one that's different because of the character limit, but it's otherwise Dan Harrison Music on everything.
But follow him and visit the website if you haven't already. And wherever you live locally, you should be hearing it on the radio. But if you haven't already, download the new song with Bells, son of Jolene, which Dan wrote this down. To call this a dream come true is an understatement. because I got to share it with two of my best friends.
It's true.
Another thing I talk about in this podcast, and I believe so strongly in, Dan, is friendship, the power
Yep.
of friendship.
Very much
And
so.
that's a great part of the story there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Dan, as always, it's wonderful to connect with you, and I'm rooting hard for you, and uh, all the best to you, my friend.
I really appreciate it, man. Thank you for your support and just your platform and taking the time to chat. And it's a pleasure as always. And we'll do it again sometime.
You got it. We'll talk soon.
Yep.
All right. Y'all have a great week. Thanks for listening to the Dan Time Podcast.
See you next time.
Oh, it's Dan time.